Hey guys, it's Brooke here. I wanted to do a YouTube video talking about something that a lot of people have been asking questions about online and on YouTube and on the internet. I've been asked these questions personally myself, having private discussions with people. I wanted to discuss some interesting concepts and philosophies and theories on the nature of our reality. And one of the biggest questions is because when the Matrix movie came out, everyone started questioning the reality. Even prior to that movie, people have been trying to research it and figure out why are we in this type of reality? Where do our souls come from? But the topic that I want to speak about tonight is are we in a computer program? Or are we in a Matrix-like game? This has been a question that people have been studying very hard to find the answer to this question. And I just want to talk about my take on this. And I wrote down some questions that people do ask me, and I've had discussions about, and I would like to discuss that right now. The first question is, are we in a computer program? Are we in a Matrix-like game? Well, from my research and from my astral traveling and from my spiritual travels, this is the answer that I received. And I did a lot of prayer and meditation on this. Apparently, it looks like we are in like if you can say, a reality that was built upon frequencies, particles, and waves. And the programming of this reality has been put together by a divine force, whether it be a supercomputer, what they call, I'm not sure if they call them neutron computers or nuclear computers, but this reality is built upon supercomputers or systems. Could be planetary systems, celestial systems, or just cities of computers. When I traveled in my dreams, I met a gentleman that was showing me this information. I'm not sure if this guy was a demon or an alien or from the Pleiadian. The gentleman had blonde hair and blue eyes, and had a dream that he was showing me a huge computer or a huge circuit board, and he said, this is what controls your reality. So I believe that our reality, based on me traveling, because when I traveled through different dimensions, I saw waves of geometric shapes and fractal patterns, and I also see these things in really deep meditation. I see waves of light and light being manipulated and being fashioned in a certain way to create what we call reality. So I do believe that we are in like a hologram or computer system designed by an intelligent force. Also, there's been a lot of studying, especially by this one of my favorite physicists. His name is Dr. James Gates, and he actually studied coding for the fabric of this. He said he found error correcting codes in his mathematics and his equations, trying to figure out if we're in a simulated reality. So there's obviously something trying to hold the fabric of our reality together in a specific way. So yes, I do believe that our reality is like a computer program. Who's programming it? That's a very complicated question, because there are lots of beings that have hacked their program. Some of them are called fallen angels, interdimensional alien beings and systems. There are certain planets that hold frequencies that put folks in certain realities depending on the species that has been born native to that system, because we're all connected to the same system. So if you think in terms of a computer, Earth is a system, it is a consciousness, and we come from the Earth, our bodies that have been designed by a higher intelligence, I believe. The fragments of our body come from the Earth, and the Earth is like the computer, part of the computer that our bodies, I'm talking about our physical bodies, not our soul. Our soul is connected to the system as well, but mostly our bodies, because our bodies are made up of the same chemical compositions and structures that come from the Earth as well. That's why when you eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, all the things that we need are in the Earth. So that's why they tell you to eat your fruits and vegetables, because these are foods or programs that can help the body, because the body comes from that same source. So we do live in the Matrix. We do live in a simulated program. We do live in a holographic reality. Another question is, well, if we live in a holographic reality, then what makes things feel solid? Like what makes us feel like we're in a building or we're sitting on a chair. Well, it's not really a matter of solid, because there's nothing in the universe that is really solid. What really is going on is energetic resistance. There's resistance patterns and things like a seat. When you look at a cube of ice, when you study science and you study the what is it called? You study how water changes into ice, and then ice changes to gas, liquid, gas, and solid. Well, it's just changing its structure and its form. When we sit on a seat, that doesn't mean it's solid. That just means that there's such an energetic resistance because of the particles are so packed together, creating a resistance. So we can't pass through walls. But once you start to understand the fabric of the matrix and the reality, that's why certain alien beings know how to go through walls, because they understand how to break down those barriers, those energetic resistance barriers. So that's what makes things solid. That's what makes you be able to sit in a chair or put your hand on the wall, or you can't push your hand through the wall because our minds we're not at the level to understand what makes up the fabric of a reality, so it creates a resistance around us, if that makes any sense. Trying to explain this as best as I can because I'm still learning myself. So here's another question that's heavily asked. So what is the purpose of the matrix? What is the purpose of the computer simulated hologram? What is the purpose of a soul going through an experience in these systems? Like, why can't we just live in spirit and in soul? And why do we have to live in this, matrix? Why do we have to live through human bodies? And here's the answer to that question through my research and my spiritual travels. Our souls fell. Now, if you're living on the earth plane, you've fallen from a high place, because the earth is part of the lower realms. Especially, there's different parallel dimensions of earth, because I've noticed when I travel in my dreams, there's different lives I'm carrying out in parallel universes. Like, depending on the decisions I've made. So there's different realities in the system, but if you're in 3D earth reality, you're kind of in the lower realms. And we are here for a reason, to learn. That's the only thing I can understand. We're captured, kidnapped. There are soul farms. I spoke about that in my video. I've had dreams where I saw ships carrying souls. They have technology where they can trap the soul in a certain way and create energetic barriers around the soul. And not wipe out the memory, because you can't destroy memory, but you can suppress it. They have technology to suppress the memory. That's why people can't remember where they came from when they were born and where they're going when they die. So that's why there's a lot of people studying that, because it's important that we know. So we don't keep getting reincarnated into the system if we don't have any, there's no necessity for us to be here if we already learned our lessons. So why the hell do I have to keep coming back over and over and don't remember what I learned the previous lifetime? So we have a lot of spiritual people and light workers trying to figure out, mystics, seers, and ascended masters trying to stop this shit. Because it's insidious and it shouldn't happen this way. I think a soul should be able to experience their life as many times as they need to and then move on with their memory intact. But there's obviously a force that's wiping our memories and putting us back into the matrix. So here's another question. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head because I forgot my book upstairs. Another thing that people discuss is, who's our adversaries? Who's the opposing force that's trying to keep us locked into the matrix, and why are they keeping us in the matrix? Well, as I said before, our souls, a majority of us who are on earth came from the high place. What is the high place? It's what you consider in the Bible as the heavens, or we came from a conscious source of love, peace, and balance, and tranquility. But at a certain point or another, either our souls wandered off and wants to explore different aspects of the Creator, which every single being in this universe is connected to the Creator. We're all mirrors of the Creator. We're all living different lives based on the Creator's consciousness, so that it's all about learning. It's all about experience. It's all about understanding. So that's what's going on. And a lot of us either chose to come to Earth to learn from the experience, and the majority of us fell here because let's just be honest. If you live in a realm of bliss and peace and balance, why would you come here? Because this place has nothing but hellish stuff on this planet. There's a lot of love and there's a lot of hate. There's a lot of extremes on this planet. That's why a lot of certain alien races do not want to bother coming to Earth, because it's too much. So basically, Earth was a place of learning. It's not real in the sense that we believe what is to be real. Like, you know, this wall is real, or the light in the room is real. Like, you know, it's an experience. Our soul is experiencing reality through our bodies, which are programmed to perceive things in a certain way. But when you come out of body, you start to see more. That's why when people are traveling in spirit, they can hear sounds they didn't hear before. They can see colors they never seen, because we are bound and locked into the limitations of our physical form. So the only way to expand this is through spirit and intelligence. That's the and truth, and connecting to the light, the real light, not the false light. There's also something else I want to talk about as far as limitations, because we only can see visible light. When you see the color black or the color white, that's a color limitation, because black, they say black's the absence of color, because I study color theory because I'm an artist. So they say black is the absence of color, and they say white is all the colors. If you're talking about spectrums of light, I just think these colors are a limitation. And I could tell you this because one day when I was at my job a long time ago, I was staring at the sun, and I was sun gazing, and my mind, I can tell that my mind was trying to process all the colors in the sun, but there was a limitation of white light. The white light was the limitation, if you catch my drift. So when you get to the highest end of the spectrum of visible light, you have this block, like your mind can't interpret the rest of the colors, so you'll see white. Or if the darkest of dark colors, you won't see those, so you see black. So I know that sounds kind of weird, but that's what I've learned, sun gazing, is that no matter how much this human body is trying to interpret everything that's around it, it can't, because we're not designed to be that way. Because our genetics have been screwed with, and we're actually designed to be, instead of just being a school, it's turned more into a farm and a prison. Because if you look in the sky, the star systems and the planets, each of them have some types of systems depending on the type of learning and soul objectives that you have. When you fall in spirit, when you lose your light, which is when you lose your love and your peace and your balance, you fall to different states where you start to get in sync with hellish realms. Like, you start falling from the high place to the lower places, because there are aspects of yourself that are messed up or really dark, and you have to work those out before you could go back to the place of what they consider in Kemetic spirituality is ma'at, balance, peace, tranquility, light, completion. I'm gonna have to probably make a part 2 because hey guys, so this is part 2. I'm sorry about the other video getting cut off. Actually, I might merge both videos, so it doesn't have to be a part 2. But anyway, so I'll just continue on. So ma'at and balance. So we all fell. We're all beings of the Most High learning, and the more we lose the essence of the Most High, the more we fall deeper and deeper into hellish realms. And that's what the Bible talks about. The Bible is not completely accurate, but it does take stories from older spiritual texts and understandings, and they took it and they put it in a way where it benefits their political agendas. But hey, I mean, sometimes we have to just pick out the truth from the lies, and we have to just understand universal principles that there are different star systems and dimensions where souls learn and get closer back to the Most High, and the Most High is learning through us as well. We are mirrors and aspects of the Most High, because the Most High wants to understand its whole entire universe as we understand the Most High, if that makes any sense. So energy is always reciprocated. That's how systems survive. That's how solar systems survive. If one planet's fucked up, the whole thing's gonna fuck up. The sun has a purpose. If something doesn't have a purpose, it might, it might cease to exist. Who knows? Because I've heard something where it said, if there weren't beings, if there weren't solar beings or soul beings, in these systems where the sun will have a purpose to be in the in the midst of the planets, the sun will probably not be here, so we have to think in terms of purpose as well. Everything has a purpose, the dark and the light. The dark teaches us what love isn't. When I came to earth in spirit, when I was a kid, I learned what love was, and when I grew up, I learned what it isn't. So I had to find my way back to love and back to the Most High. So that's how it goes. Our experience on this planet, not only are we enslaved to the darker forces, but we have to think about in ourselves, what in ourselves makes us dark, that's connecting me to this world. Those are the things I have to fix and focus on so I can get back to the high place. Because the only time you start to see darkness is when there's darkness within you resonating with the frequencies of the hellish realms. So the reason why in the society we have today, the dark forces want to create a vibratory fall in the beings and the soul beings on this planet, so that more beings will fall into the underworld or the states of the hellish realms. There are many portals around the earth that I've seen in my dreams that was, thank God, I just want to give a shout out to my brother. He died a long time ago, but he came to me in a dream and showed me these portals. And he wants me to tell people, there's a lot of portals. There's a lot of portals that are around the earth that they're negative portals, negative vortexes that are where demons and other dark entities are coming through because of the fall in vibration in the collective of the planet. So that's what's going on pretty much. But the purpose of these matrices, are to it was built for souls who are trying to get their shit together, but now it seems to be, it's been hacked, and now it's very complicated. There's a lot of things going on at once. It's supposed to be a place of learning, but there are beings that have hacked the matrix. That's why they're able to get into your mind, because it's child's play to them. Reading your mind and simulating your thoughts in the dream state is child's play to them. It's just like turning on a PlayStation to them. It's nothing to them. This is easy stuff. This system of learning is turned into a prison because of these dark beings, and we have to get the truth out there. And I want to give a shout out to all the truthers and the light workers and all these people and ascended masters and the elders who have been, fighting for the truth, because the truth is one of the keys out of here, because we'll know what to do, and we'll know how to raise our vibration, and we'll know how to get back to the high place, which we all want to get back to, the Most High and the source. We all want to get back there. So we have to figure out what's in us that's resonating on a dark frequency to have us tied to these beings. So the matrix being hacked, it's getting a lot worse. Our vibrations are falling as we are starting to see the hellish realms. That's one of the reasons why they built that CERN device, that Hadron Collider, because they're really trying to. Well, it's complicated because there's some people that want to get out of this matrix and this reality. They want to escape, but there's a quarantine around this system because there's too much chaos going on, and the higher beings can't risk the fate of the other souls in evolution seeking God and seeking the higher realms and spiritual truth. They can't risk the things going on this planet infecting the rest of the solar system universe. So there's a quarantine around this till we get our shit together as a group. So I'm praying that everyone gets their shit together so we can get the hell out of here and find love and peace and harmony and ma'at and balance. And we got to understand that the reality, it's just because it feels real, it sounds real, it tastes real, does not mean it's real. We got to open up our mind and really look deeply into things, because from what I can see, is that you can't always trust everything, you see, taste, touch, and feel, because that can be manipulated. Most of the foods out here we eat aren't even real, especially in the poorer communities. all of our lives we've been eating like things that look like food, taste like food, but it's not food. That's why people are getting sick. GMOs, clones. I mean, we gotta wake up, open up our eyes so we can get back to the Most High and get back to the high place so our spirits can be free and get out of this system, the lower realms. And I hope my words have, I know people have been coming out with the same shit over and over, but the older I get, the more this stuff is starting to make more sense to me, and I want to keep learning from the elders and the, people who've sometimes even died for the truth, like it, admirable things. Like I have to keep following that path. But guys, have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow.